On.
Let's just have a look here.
Bada bing.
Do you see us?
I can't at the minute. Bear with me.
Okay, yeah, I see a sign saying that we live.
Yeah, we're live.
Okay, awesome. All right, welcome everybody. I see that we're live right now. Welcome to the live. Tonight we are going to be with Debbie and JP, and we're going to be doing a Q&A inside the group. So any questions that you have, anything you want to ask, anything you want to talk about, now is the time to do it. You're going to have our full attention, and you will be able to ask us anything, hear what we have to say, hear our perspective, and hopefully, definitely, it'll be able to help you to get closer to where it is you want to be. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly check and make sure everything is all good. So I'll just click on here. Okay, so Debbie, whilst I just share this out, if you want to sort of go on to the next thing and just tell people a little bit about what some of the things we're going to be talking about tonight, and I'll just let you do that whilst I quickly share it out.
Okay, perfect. So I'd like to welcome everyone that has joined us, and we thought we would try and just open up the floor and have you guys ask us questions. Our goal is to make the world a place where everyone feels accepted, everyone feels belong, and we come from a place of our heart. So we are lifting each other up. We are starting a movement. We are creating a revolution from a place of our heart, and we will not go defeated. It's time that we all get involved. So
I love that, absolutely. And this is the thing, you see, when it comes to all aspects of our lives and, you know, how we feel, what we experience with our friends and family, you know, what we do, you know, if you've had tough times in school and it's still affecting you now in your adult life, you know, it's important to understand that we've literally just been having this conversation right now, is that the power is in the people. You know, when you band together and you use the resources around you, which is effectively everybody, you know, it's the people, it's who we are, it's who you surround yourself with. When you do that, you find that there's a lot more answers out there for you, and there are a lot more people that support you, and you aren't as alone as you think you are. You know, I did a video about it a month and a bit ago, you know, pushing it out there that we're not alone, because we're not. You know, there's always going to be somebody that genuinely from the bottom of their heart wants to help you to feel better and get to a position in life where you want to be. You know, this is what it's all about.
that's right.
Those are the people you don't want to surround yourself with. You know, I know for a fact that Debbie and JP, very, very amazing people. They want to see society and people improve and understand each other better, because there's, you know, well, I know for a fact you said, Debbie, you know, yourself, that we need to start to get to the point of, and I know you said this as well, JP, is the equality, you know, where we see each other as equal no matter what. You know, and that there are levels of that all over the place, and there's many, many different conversations we can go down towards that, but it is an important end goal. So it's definitely something to think of. So I'm just going to share this out with a few more places if you guys want to sort of just carry on, and we'll get some people on this live tonight.
JP, let's hear your perception.
Sure, I want to weigh in. I really want to piggyback on what James was saying about making sure that we usher the resources around us. And, you know, I'm big on the inner resources. So a lot of times we got to learn to tap into those resources inside of us, because sometimes we need to use that to even put people on notice around us. Like, you know, part of the way that we were able even to come in contact is because we were willing to take a chance, to ask for help, to reach out, to speak out. And now here we are. And even though it's small, eventually it'll grow. Each one reach one, each one teach one. So this is, you know, but think of the people right now. They're thinking, oh man, I should do something like that. And they're afraid. They're doubting themselves. Or, you know, what if I trip over my words? Or, you know, what if nobody shows up? You know what? Technology is here at your fingertips. If somebody don't get to see it now, guess what? They'll get to see it later. Just get out there, get your message out there, get your moment out there, and then you can make the movement a reality.
That's exactly right. Just ask James when he said, "Oh, we'll do an interview," how I was. He actually made me overcome my anxiety quite a bit.
I
So
love that. Yeah.
yeah. So,
No, it's amazing, and I think that's a really good.
are you talking,
James?
Hello?
James? Oh, there you are. You bopped out a bit. Can you can you repeat what you said?
Oh, it was JP who was talking. I wasn't saying anything just then.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, I thought you started to say something. Yeah, it sounded like you started to say something and it chopped you off. So we was waiting to hear from you.
Sorry.
that's okay.
No,
Okay, go
but just to kind of chime in, yeah, I think that's really important. Sometimes, even though social media is great, we get used to that instant feedback, that instant, people clicking, people sharing, people saying, "Hey, that's great," clicking the heart. That's fine. That's fantastic. But just because you don't get applauded or you don't get seemingly noticed, that doesn't mean that your message isn't falling down on somebody, right? Because it's been times I've done it myself. Sometimes I may just be scrolling up my timeline and I see some really good things, but I don't have time to like comment on everybody's stuff or like, but I'm still being impacted by it. I'm like, so then maybe after seeing somebody speak 2 or 3 times, but you know what? Let me click on this. Let me listen to this. So keep putting it out there. But if that message is not out there, then people can't come back to it. So get your message out there. Be willing to take a chance. Just like you, Debbie, you took a chance when he said, "Hey, let's interview." Now you're doing it all the time. Like I said, if you hadn't have told me you were nervous, I would have never knew it. You do
Yeah.
it so effortlessly. You know what I mean? And by doing this, you are encouraging other people. The best empowerment example, in my opinion, is doing. When people see you do it, they're like, "Well, James is doing it, Debbie's doing it. Let me try it."
Yeah.
And that's good. That's what we need. More encouragement by example.
totally. And the thing is, like, it's like monkey see, monkey do. If I can do it, and I see myself as being very simple, and anyone can do this. All you need is it's a time social media can create a powerful movement. And, instead of being negative and complaining about the world crisis problems, let's do something about it. It's time, right? I mean, look at the addictions, look at the homelessness, look at the suicides, look at the premature deaths, all caused from mental thoughts, illness, right? Our negative thoughts about ourselves, right? James, are you okay? Yeah.
Yes, I'm just checking, making sure that we're coming through okay. We've got 3 beautiful people watching right now, so because my other screen is frozen. Carry on, Debbie.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So, yeah, like it's really important for us to we were born alive and beautiful, and we have the power within us to lift up and to find our passion and our purpose, and we're all in it together. We're all equal. And that's kind of the idea that I had, is connecting neurodiversity, which means people that have been labeled, diagnosed, mentally ill, with those that are the neurotypical, meaning that you are, you're able to function normally, or whatever normal is. I don't even know what normal is. So, but what I can tell you is, if you come from a place of the heart, my son, who has significant mental health issues, is the most beautiful person. He's the one that has taught me everything I know in life that makes a difference for others. He goes out into our community and everyone has a smile on their face because of his love, because of where he's coming from. So where I'm going with that is we all belong. We all should be connected and embrace our differences. It's time we all get together and have a movement, like do a movement. And you know, like mental health is important, and people are being medicated. There's wait lists. I mean, it takes a village to help a team, right? And they're not the people that need the help aren't getting it. I mean, if you have a chronic illness, terminal illness, you get the resources because it's mental. The counselors, the therapists, the walk-in crisis clinics, you're put on a wait list and they say, oh, we don't have your name, you know, sorry, go away. Well, this person is almost suicidal. They're ready to take their life, and they get pushed away or, you know, sent away. And it's not right, because our mental health is more important, I think, than physical. I mean, physical, you deal with pain. It's all illness. Physical pain will cause mental pain. It's all interconnected, I think. I think illness is illness. And, you know, like, it's our purpose is to, I think our purpose is to come from a place of the heart and help each other.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I love that. And I, for one, will vouch. And I just want to say thank you, Gemma, for joining. And Edna, I can see you've joined there. If you are enjoying it, you know, share it and like it out. You know, we're trying to, so maybe it's a connection, don't know, a little bit shaky on there. But no, Debbie, I totally agree with you. And after obviously meeting to your son and speaking to him over the Facebook and listening to you, I can tell that you're both have beautiful, pure hearts. And it's an absolute pleasure to, you know, to know you both. And that there's a lot more people out there who are like that, who do come from a place of their heart, who do come from a place of love, you know. And I think that especially when you see a lot of people who talk about mental health and who go through their lives, you can see who is genuine and who isn't. And I love, I fully agree with you that we can all stand together and be together, because once you take yourself out of a certain mindset, you know, like having that instant judgment on somebody and straight away thinking, you know, like, oh, because of that person's background or because of where they're from, I know exactly who they are, which is absolutely wrong. You know, there's no, without more information, there's no way that you can know who somebody is. You know, somebody might think that I've come out of prison when that's never the case. However, that preconceived judgment is exactly what starts it off, you know. However, they'll know that, and you know, I like I say, I used to be an officer, so I know, and I've known some amazing people who have been inside, people who've been in the wrong place at the wrong time, who have just done something out of, you know, without having any other way out. So it's about understanding and having information, you know, when it comes to mental health and just people in general, you know, because I think that mental health actually spans across the entire population, you know, because like when I was a child or a teenager, I had depression. You know, I was going through an immensely tough time. You know, did I get diagnosed for it? No. However, you know, it was some of the worst times of my life, and I had to get through that. I had to battle through it, and I had to understand it. So I think that exactly what you say, we can all understand each other better. We can get to know each other, and we can understand, you know, how people are feeling, how they're living, and just help. You know, if you want to help people, that's the most important thing. Now, I know you'll have something to say on that, JP. Feel free to carry on, but pass the baton there.
Hey, that was a mouthful, but I totally agree. But like you said something that really registered, like, you know, like people judging you by your tats. And Debbie even said something about, like, you know, people put these labels on you, right? Oh, you know, you're disabled, or you're a felon, or whatever it is, and people push you to the margins. And what do we do when we push people to the margins? We tend to not try to understand them. So if we can understand that just because somebody looks this way, just because you got tattoos, you look a certain way, that doesn't mean you are a certain way. And just because somebody looks healthy, that's one of the big challenges with mental health. Is people look, well, hey, they walking just fine, they're talking just fine, nothing's wrong with them. They just need to grow a set. They just need to exercise some intestinal fortitude. And that's the danger of when we look through the lens of our own prism. But we got to understand that we're different people. We got different experiences, and they're valid. Just because they're different don't mean they're invalid. You know, Debbie come from one place. James, you come from another place. We all got different backgrounds. So, you know, I come from an under-resourced background. So, like, let's use food, for example, right? You know, I I I medicate with food where somebody else may go get a cold beer, somebody else may pop a pill. Mine is about food. That's what's giving me the comfort. And then somebody else may shoot up heroin. But we're still medicating with something. It's just more socially acceptable to use food because everybody eats, right? But it's still it's still not treating. It's basically like cutting the branches versus getting to the root of the problem. And that's what so many of us do. We just medicate, you know, but if we start to understand mental health issues, understand depression, understand anxiety, and then once we understand it, we can help other people. We can give them the information that help them, once they implement it, lead to a transformation. And I'll pass that on.
Love it.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome, and I totally agree with you on the you know, and this is the thing, you know, I think that a lot of people won't realize that they're doing that comfort, you know, and it comes in all different kinds of forms. I think what you said there is absolutely spot on. You know, somebody who is feeling bad, they might procrastinate. You know, so let's take it on a dream basis. You know, somebody who wants to attain their dream, and you know, there are a lot of people who are experiencing mental health who don't feel like they can do anything. They don't feel like they can achieve. They don't feel like they're ever going to get anywhere because, you know, that they focus on the negative things that happen. They focus on what people have said to them. They focus on their current situation, which can be changed. You know, people may disagree or agree with that in some circumstances, and that's totally fine. However, I always believe that no matter who you are, you can at least either change your environment or try to find somebody who understands you more, or try to be around people that get you and want to see you happy, and just try to find some way of getting yourself on a more neutral basis, making yourself feel better. And going back to my point about reaching your dreams is that people don't realize they can do it, you know, but all you have to do is surround yourself with the right people. You know, you might be medicating yourself by watching TV for 6 hours a night, you know, instead of, if you want to be a musician, instead of getting on the piano or getting on the saxophone or just singing for 2 hours a night, you know. And this is the thing, like, it comes in many, many different forms. And I think that especially from my eyes, is when people want to achieve and want to get to where they want to be, they have to understand themselves. You know, they've got to go within and they've got to start to look like, okay, I feel this way. You know, is there something that's causing it? You know, because I think that there are a few people as well. Like, for instance, let's just say if I got diagnosed back in, you know, when I was a teenager, would I have made the steps to truly understand myself, understand why I was feeling the way I was, and then become the man that I am today? So I think that, you know, as much as that's a question some people might be a little bit pushed away from, I think that it's still something you should ask yourself, you know, like, why is it that I'm feeling this way? You know, is it because of just an imbalance of chemicals, or am I genuinely feeling this because I'm not where I want to be? You know, so super, super interesting point there.
Mm-hmm. It really is, you know, and I think the most important thing too is realizing that your thoughts create your reality. So if we're always thinking negative thoughts about ourselves, like I'm unworthy, I'm unlovable, I've got something wrong with me, I'm crazy, which goes hand in hand with stigma and the labels of mental illness. You can see why people end up isolating themselves and suffering in silence with pain. And it's not easy. I mean, it's tough. And like you say, JP, you need to surround yourself with like-minded individuals that understand and do get it. And that's why, you know, even I mean, for years, I've been connected to support groups for my son. And when we created the Learning Center, I had families reaching out to me all the time. And I mean, if you can give someone a sense of hope by sharing your story, then it lifts them up. And that's kind of where, I that's why I want to let everybody know that they're not alone. They're not suffering in silence alone. There's so many of us out there that are in pain and hiding it because of the shame, because of the embarrassment, because of the stigma that's connected to mental health. Maybe you're functioning daily on a, as a professional, but I know there's people out there that aren't happy. I know, like I just know, right? So it's looking within yourself and coming from a place of your heart and shining your beautiful light of love. So loving yourself first and foremost, and then spreading that love to the universe. That is the best drug that we could ever medicate ourselves with.
Love it. No, that's really good, Debbie. It's really good. What I'll do right now is I'll just so I'll say hello. So we've got Shelly on. Shell on, sorry. Welcome, darling. Timmy, Rebecca, welcome. It's great to have you on. So for all the people watching right now, don't forget this is the Q&A, so please feel free. I've got the questions just down below here on my screen. Pop any questions you have down there, even if it's not related to mental health. Maybe you're just going through a tough time. Maybe, and which, in my opinion, is still related. It doesn't have to be anything specific. If you're going through a tough time, maybe a relationship's not going the way you want it, you've got 3 minds right now that you can talk to, you can have a chat with, and you can see our perspective, the way we see things. And I promise you, and this is like me putting myself on the line here, I know for a fact that out of the 3 beautiful people we've got on here right now, kind of be arrogant for myself there, that we'll be able to help you, and we'll be able to at least give you our perspective and try to push you in the right direction. So if there's ever a time, you're watching this for a reason, then pop a question down below and we'll happily answer it. So what I actually did do as well, let me just quickly have a look here, because we had now what I want to bring up, especially with yourself, JP, is what you mentioned, is about the injustices. Now, I'd like you to sort of go in on that, because I know that's something that even if it's not like the interest, is something that you want to really look at and help people to understand and get it to a better place. So I'm really interested in what you have to say on that.
Sure. Well, like I talked about, being a part of the criminal enterprise and shifting to the social enterprise, right? Well, one of the reasons I'm passionate about that is because just like, we look at people with mental health issues and say, well, what's nothing's wrong with them. Then the same token, you'll have people to be like, well, why don't you just work? Why don't you just get a job? Well, they don't really understand that certain jobs, it says, have you ever had a criminal offense? And that becomes like a gridlock. It just becomes almost like you got leprosy, employment leprosy. People won't touch you. They won't. And like me, I got an advanced degree, and it's a lot of places. A lot of times I'm taking jobs a lot of times I have more education than anybody in the company, and I'm making $9-10 an hour. So in terms of injustice, if we really want to make society better, we got to make it to where we give people second chances. And if we want people to give us second chances, we got to be willing to give other people second chances. So we don't like when people demonize us, judge us. So we try to understand people rather than condemn people. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing that I've learned. So by being locked out and facing certain injustices, that's what makes me more understanding, because I know how it feels to be like, wow, that was 20 years ago. Don't matter. It says ever, that could be 30 years ago. So now that's real. And then when we get to different things, we got to be able to speak honestly about things, because in the spirit of not wanting to hurt people's feelings, like Debbie said, It's a lot of people pretending they're in pain, and it's okay to not be okay. But that's the problem. People are tough. Hey, well, you need to toughen up. So you go to work, you put on a play face. You come home, you put on a play face, and in the bathroom, you suffer in silence. You're crying. You don't want your kids to see you crying. You don't want to see your spouse to see you crying, but you're dying inside. And this, in my opinion, is what's leading to a lot of the suicidal attempts, a lot of suicidal, because people are suffering. It's okay to hurt. It's okay. We're human beings. I'm a man. It's okay to cry. This
Mhm.
notion, oh, no,
Yeah.
men cry. Human beings cry. If you can do it, it's a reason for it. Oh, if men weren't supposed to cry, then we wouldn't be capable of crying.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that, I mean, but when we tap into what really makes us human beings, that's what really makes us whole. And hurting is part of that. Pain is one of the best teachers. We don't like it, but you're hurting for a reason. So either you're not dealing with it, because you can't sit on pain, you can't walk around pain. You got to push through pain. That's your breakthrough. That's how we help other people, right? Well, I've been depressed, so I know how it is to sit alone, like you said, watching 6 hours of TV, stuffing myself. I'm full, but I'm still pain and still void. So I'm still trying to fill that instead of fueling myself up, filling up my emotions. I'm filling up my body, but my
Mm.
emotions and my heart is still empty. So we got to get to that place where we're willing to say, hey, it's okay if you're in pain. It don't matter what you're going through. You're a human being. So what you're a CEO of a company? So what, you're a wife of 3 kids? You still are entitled to be in pain, and you're entitled to express that pain because that's the only way you're going to be able to heal.
I love that. And do you know what? There's an amazing point that you mentioned there is about the void that's inside, and that comes on to the most important thing is finding a passion. Because everybody here has a purpose in this world. Everybody, because and this is something I often think about the absolute insanity of the chances of us individuals being here, having gone through all of the stuff our parents did in the past to create us, going through all of our childhood, all of our teenage years, all of our adult years, to be sat here right now on this camera, all three of us talking to everyone here. The absolute insane statistical chance of us still being here right now is mental. So if you think about that and you can accept that, that means that you have a purpose, no matter what you feel right now, whether you think you're worthless, which is, MC, and this is something where, again, people will sort of think that I'm crazy for this, but I find it incomprehensible that people think they're worthless when they're sat here and having faced all of the odds they've faced in the past. I mean, think about it. Everything you have been through, every moment, every tear that's fell from your face, exactly as you said, JP, every single time you felt alone and crushed and like nobody's there to help you, and you are still here right now, in this moment, watching this, listening to this later on, listening to what we have to say if you've got this far. That's an important thing. And that means you're here for a reason. Even if you don't believe it, you can find it. And the question I have for you, like with the law of attraction, like with everything you're saying tonight, the one thing I'll add to it, and I don't know if you guys will agree or not, feel free to argue against this, but it takes work, like with ourselves, when it comes to bettering ourselves, when it comes to mental health, you want to get a better job, you want better relationships, you want to feel better. It does take work. You've got to work, you've got to sit down and ask yourself the question, who am I? Sit down and close your eyes and, take yourself out of yourself and look at yourself and say, do I love the person I'm looking at? Because if the answer is no, you've got some work to do, because you should love yourself and there's no reason why you can't. I'm a geek. I love playing games. I love watching movies. I love watching anime. I love talking about geeky stuff. I love that about me. Some people will curse me for it. They'll say, you're ridiculous. You're trying to motivate people and you're watching all this stupid cartoons on. I'm like, doesn't matter to you what I enjoy. I love it and I will love it until I part the world. And it's okay to find what you love, because when you find what you love, you will end up loving yourself. And that's just, it's a big thing. If you're feeling bad, find something to be happy about. And I bet there's something.
You know, James, I just want to comment on that because who cares what other people think? And we're going to get the negative comments, and we're going to get the, you know, ones that say, what do you think you're doing? Like, as if, blah, blah. Don't let others trigger you. Don't let others get under your skin. You're better than that. If you love yourself and love who you are and are passionate about what you're doing and you're chasing a dream, you catch it no matter what. Everybody else, it doesn't matter what everybody else thinks. And that's a huge part of grounding yourself and knowing truly who you are and your purpose and being the best version of yourself. Because once you hit that point, you're unstoppable. No one is going to get under your skin. No one is going to change your mind. You're set. And all of us have that capability if we just believe and love ourselves.
Absolutely. No, you're so right, Debbie. And you see, this is the whole reason why we're doing this live tonight as well is literally to show people that if you're having these moments where people are telling you why you're doing this, why you're doing that, you've got people here that'll tell you don't listen to them. You know, there's probably a few swear words I could think that you could say to those people as well that we're not going to say on the live, but that's sometimes what it takes. You know, and it's okay to feel angry towards those people. Trust me, I was an angry kid. You know, I was angry towards people that tried to dictate to me who I thought that I was. And, you know, that's fine because it's all, and, you know, just like JP said about the injustice, if people saw me a few, you know, what am I now, 24? If people saw me 10 years ago, they will have thought that they should have probably sectioned me because I was such an angry kid, right? But if they'd have seen me 10 years later, given me a chance, actually sat back and let me do what I had to do instead of picking on me, telling me why am I eating that, calling me ugly, commenting on my spots that I had as a kid and on my hair and on my clothes and the fact that I wasn't, you know, like Brad Pitt walking down the street. If they'd have given me a chance and listened to what I had to say, maybe they'd have found some truth in it and maybe they would have appreciated it. And that's what you've got to do. You know, like you know, we're all the same. Like, it doesn't matter. Even if Brad Pitt, you know, he's probably had people taking the mick out of him when he was at school. Who knows? You know, yeah. I know for a fact there's people in the past, like, there's nothing that separates anybody. You know, even if you've got the kid at school that bullies you, he probably or she probably goes home and her life at home sucks. You know, her parents probably don't care about her. She's probably crying out for attention and nobody can see her. So she's taking it out on every single other person. That happens. I had it happen to me and I did it to other people. I bullied people. And I bullied people so I could be popular. Mm-hmm. Wrong. It's just not true, you know, because there are people who are different and they've got a gift. And I'd say one of the biggest things I remember us having this conversation in the past, JP, is that especially when it comes to children, you know, from the ages from 4 to 13, 14 years old, sometimes they come out with things and it just makes you sit back in silence. You're just there and your mind is blown. You just think to yourself, like, that has just come out of an 8-year-old and I didn't even think about life in that way. And, you know, obviously the whole point of me bringing this up is that we've all got something to offer, you know, so when it comes to you feeling worthless, like, you just can't feel that. And this is what I'm saying. It's not acceptable for you to feel worthless about yourself because it's just not true, you know, no matter what it is. So just something really important for you to take.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that makes another point, our children, educating our children now, that it is important for them to know that it is okay to be not okay as long as they voice it, talk about it. You know, I think it's really important for us to make sure that our children feel like they've been heard and that we listen to understand, meaning that we go down to their level where they're at and check in with them, you know, like, ask them about how they're feeling, their emotions, how was their day. And I would love to see curriculum added into the school systems worldwide on mindfulness, where it teaches children compassion, empathy, understanding, embracing each other for your differences. So if there's a child with autism in the classroom and he's licking a pencil. Don't laugh at them and think it's funny, or, don't be fearful of them. Embracing our differences, because we learn from each other. I know that. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I definitely like to piggyback in on that, especially the mindfulness. Applied mindfulness is so important, but I think we also should teach the children to, like a lot of us, we coming from broken homes, right? So we don't have loving parents. We come from hostile households. So sometimes we don't have a mom that we can talk to. We don't have a dad, or, dad may be gone, mom may be on drugs. It's also, like you're saying about the curriculum, it's important to teach the kids to speak out and reach out to somebody. If it's got to be a principal, it's got to be a teacher. If you're not comfortable talking, write a note, because everybody don't feel comfortable actually talking, speaking out. But communicate, teach them to reach out for help early and often. It's help out there. But if you suffer in silence, people say, hey, well, that kid Tommy's kind of odd. They don't know. And even learning that behavior is language. Just like you mentioned, James, you would go to school and be a bully. So a lot of times, the bully, he is the bullied bully. At home, Pop is, kicking him around, smacking him around, choking him. He can't beat the battle at home. So he goes and he exerts power over somebody he can't at school. But if people say, yeah, why is this kid always bullying people? If somebody's curious and mindful of that, well, why is this kid, he's 10 years old, why is he trying to bully on everybody? If somebody cares enough, or if they're mindful and try to understand it rather than just condemn, hey, this is this bad kid from a bad zip code area, and he just needs to be punished. Well, that's just going to teach him, oh, I got punished. I'm going to pass this punishment forward. I'm going to push this punishment forward. But if we say, wow, somebody takes the time to understand me and say, hey, what's going on with you? Why are you so angry, James? Why are you punching him? And if somebody had to ask you that, imagine how much pain could have been prevented for you and others. But being mindful, as Debbie said, that's huge. And if you feel like you're worthless, why? Start asking yourself, why do I feel worthless? We have incalculable amount of worth. The human beings, you can't even put a monetary amount of what each one of us are worth. But that comes from within. And a lot of times we're looking for without, right? Oh, well, I don't have it. I'm not beautiful. I don't have a small waistline and beautiful green eyes and blonde hair. Or I don't have a big bouncing backside. Oh, I don't have a fancy car. I don't have I'm in debt. So I'm not worth. Well, that's the problem. We are competing with other people rather than competing with ourselves. Can you be a better you today than you were yesterday? Can you be healthier tomorrow than you are today? Let's focus on being healthier, being happier, and competing with yourself and not with everybody else. A lot of people go down Facebook and they compare their lives to other people's artificial life. A lot of these people are taking the highlights of their life. This is not even real life. Nobody's taking the pictures of when their husband backhand them and knock them down up under the couch. Nobody's taking a picture of that. They're taking a picture of themselves on vacation. And too many times we compare ourselves to other people. Oh, I'm not worth anything. I'm worthless. Because you're comparing your life to somebody's life that may not even exist. With that, I digress.
I think you need it. Yeah, you need to go grab a microphone and drop it there, buddy, because that was just spot on. I mean, like, you absolutely hit the nail on the head right there. Is the fact that people aren't putting up their bad stuff. Do you know what I mean? If they lose their job, a lot of the time people aren't putting that up. They're holding that in. They're posting with their pints on the weekend, but really they've not even got enough money to pay for the pints. So why would you ever compare yourself to somebody when you don't know the full story? And that's so true, man. You blow my, just like you did last time. You blow my mind with that comment. It's so important to realize is that don't compare yourself to other people, because quite frankly, you can't, well, you might be able to, but I don't know anybody that's buried themselves in their Lamborghini. Do you know what I mean? When it comes to the part in the world, you can't bury yourself in your car. So what kind of car you have, what kind of house you have, it doesn't matter. It's what you do, the words that come out of your mouth and your actions that dictate who you are and how people see you and how you live your life. You know, so that was awesome, man. I love that. It was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You can't take a Lamborghini with you on your next journey.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome, JP. Yeah, I was like, yeah.
I love it.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
That gives me something else. When y'all mention that, because a lot of times we think of abundance as material, right?
Mm-hmm.
But think of abundance in terms of health. Think of abundance in terms of relationships. Like, that's powerful. Like,
Yeah.
the fact that I'm talking to somebody in England and I'm talking to somebody in Canada, the abundance of connections, the abundance of relationships and power and communication. We just look at abundance often as just financial currency. But what about emotional currency, intellectual currency? The fact that you got clarity, the fact that you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to get up, I'm going to put on a green shirt today, or I'm going to go for a walk. That's an abundance of clarity. It's some people that they don't even remember. I've taken care of residents that had Alzheimer's, and they call, their daughter their wife's name. They don't even know their daughter, so they don't even have a clarity of who they're coming in contact with. And these are the things that a lot of us take for granted because it's standard equipment that you can make a choice, that you can get a result. Hey, I'm going to go eat a burger today. Wow, abundance of choices. Abundance is not just about material access. It's about access to each other, access to our loved ones. Some people are in prison. They're locked away. They're taken away. They don't have an abundance of liberty, abundance of access, of calling their loved ones each and every day in every way. The fact that you can just walk back to your room and hug your kid, that's abundance of affection at your fingertips. But how often do we look at, oh, I don't have a Lamborghini. I don't have a Maybach.
Mm-hmm.
So we getting focused on all those things that we don't have, those material, superficial things, and not appreciating what we do have right here at our fingertips.
So true. Lovely. Yeah.
That's awesome. No, again, that's so spot on, my friend. And I want to say here, Robson says amazing, guys. So, Robin, thank you so much for your call, my friend. If you're still watching, really appreciate that. And I appreciate the love. And Mason as well said thank you. So, no, I absolutely love that, guys. So, guys, what we'll do is we'll go for another 3 minutes, if that's all right with you two.
Sure.
Yeah, I think we've come up with some awesome points today. So, for everyone who's watching, pop down any questions you have right now. Pop them down below. Don't forget that this is your time. If you're just living your life day by day and you're not, living it with purpose or anything, this is your time to ask the questions that you want to ask and to get the information you want to get. So, pop it down in the comments there. Like this out and share it if you've enjoyed what you've been listening to. Please feel free to. It'll mean the world to myself, JP, and Debbie. Absolutely. So, one thing I wanted to one last thing that I wanted to bring up as well is what we'll do is before obviously we part off is just each of us to give one way that we know to help ourselves and other people to feel better. So Debbie, do you want to begin with that?
Oh, yeah, of course. Take tiny steps towards loving yourself. So that means if you're in a situation where you hate yourself and you're not good enough and you're suicidal or something like that, start doing things that make you feel good. It could be journaling. It could be listening to music. It could be meditating. Start looking at ways that you can make yourself feel better. And one thing that I find really important, and actually JP mentioned it, was Louise Hay's, is positive affirmations. So instead of saying, I hate myself, I'm not good enough, I'm unworthy, I'm unlovable, you're going to say, I love myself. My son says it every day. we've taught him to say, I love myself, because he's had times where he has said, I hate my life, I want to die, and it comes out of nowhere. So there's ways that you can reprogram your brain to love yourself, and that is first and foremost. So positive affirmations: I'm strong, I'm healthy, I can do this, I'm a warrior, I'm worthy, I'm lovable, I'm happy. So all of those positive affirmations. And then, like I say, do things that you enjoy. Have a hot bubble bath, whatever makes you feel good. And then the other is take care of your temple. So many of us abuse our body to self-medicate, whether it's drugs, alcohol, food, like JP says, junk food. Our body is our temple, and self-care is really important. So those are the two most important things that you can do for yourself to start in the right direction. Most importantly, reprogram those negative thoughts about yourself. It takes a lot of hard work because they're in there. It's like a computer. They're in there, and they're gonna show up every single day. Every morning you wake up, they're gonna be staring you in the face and wanting to make you go to that dark spot. But you, once you're aware and mindful, can overcome those thoughts and replace them with positive.
Love it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And where I would weigh in is when as soon as I wake up, gratitude. Like the first thing I do, as crazy as it seems, is I wiggle my toes and I move my hands.
Love
And I
it.
say, and I thank the Lord for activity of my limbs in full faculty. So that gives me off to a good start. Hey, I can move my toes, I can move my hands. So I'm grateful. I find a couple things to be grateful for. That's the first thing. And then having a faith foundation. Because like faith, for whatever reason, like I'm pretty transparent. Like I've been transparent with you guys. Like I'm unemployed right now. So I'm looking for a job. So what I do is if my circumstances is overwhelming, I change the way I feel about it. If it's something that's bigger than me, okay, I can't change this, but I can change the way I feel about it. And for me to change the way I feel about it, I have to tap into my faith. So whether that is whatever it is, it's going to be different for some of us. For some people, it's the universe. For other people, like myself, it's Jesus Christ. Somebody else, it may be Allah. I don't discriminate in whatever that faith base is. For each of us, it's going to be different. But I think that's so important. For when you get overwhelmed, I'm overwhelmed. I can't do it. Okay. The things that you cannot do, hand over to your faith. But the things that you can do it. You can do more, do absolutely everything you can to improve your life. And that I'll hand it off to you, James.
No, I love it. That's spot on. And one thing that I love about what you mentioned, Debbie, was about those thoughts and reprogramming. I'm actually going to recommend a book. So for the 3 people watching right now, and for the people who are going to watch the replay, if you've got to this point, thank you so much from all 3 of us. I'm going to recommend a book that's called Psycho-Cybernetics. Now, it's not about any crazy murderers. Don't worry about that. It's just literally, it's a book about the mind. It's very, very good. What it does is it actually likens the mind, or it relates the mind to, again, just bear with me, to a guided missile system. So what it means is, with a guided missile system being a computer that controls it, it says that the brain is very, very similar. And the guy who wrote the book was actually obviously a military scientist, whatever it was that he did. I'm still kind of getting through it. And that's what he did. He worked with these computers, and he says, what if the mind is very similar to this? We're very goal orientated. So our subconscious, we don't have to tell our heart to beat. We don't have to tell.
Oh.
Are you there, James?
Yeah.
We lost.
That's all right. Am I still here?
Yeah, you're there.
Okay, you're back now.
Yeah. So we don't have to tell our minds to sort of move our limbs. We're able to do that, and it just does it. I pick up my mouse, and I don't really have to think about it. So we're very goal orientated. So the advice from this is, number one, get the book, and number two, take a look at how how you think, to take a look at what it is you do on a daily basis. And like Debbie says, do that affirmation, but do it on a hypnotic like kind of level. Do it where you're sitting down and you're saying, I am this, and visualize it. Saying it is obviously it's very powerful, but sit down and visualize it. The imagination is infinite. People have written, J.K. Rowling with Harry Potter, movies, The Matrix, games, all these kind of things. This is imagination. This is people thinking about it, bringing it into fruition, working together. You can do the same thing with yourself and your life. It's kind of like you're in a fiction. This life is your fiction, and every moment that you're taking, you're writing your book. So write the ending that you want to have. And you're gonna have the villains. Don't worry about that. You're gonna have the villains, but it's all about the heroes. And the heroes, you can be one of them. You can be one of them, and you can do what it is that you need to do. So that's my little bit of advice. Similar to Debbie's, JP's was absolutely awesome as well.
That was awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, man.
Thank you so much.
That was it on right there. Yeah.
Love it. So listen, guys, thank you everyone for tuning in and watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've enjoyed talking to JP and Debbie. I will do always. They're fantastic people, brilliant mindsets, brilliant perspectives. So for everyone who tuned in, I noticed Darlene, you came at the end. For the 3 beautiful people watching right now, thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
From myself, it's been an absolute pleasure. And for JP, Debbie?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I love talking to you two too, because you get me, and we're together, man. We're connected. Yeah.
So I know as well, on a final note, JP's got a YouTube. If you want to go and subscribe to him, I'm sure you'll be able to see the link on his profile, or you want to pop it in the video, JP. And obviously Debbie's got this group. So for anyone outside of the group, follow the group. She's amazing. She's super, super pure heart, and she will help you with anything you have. So for myself, me, you can come on my profile, tune in. It's absolutely awesome. I know it's Paul. Thank you for tuning in at the end, my friend. We're going to be coming off now, so you can watch the replay. And thank you, everyone, and speak to you soon.
Awesome.
Awesome.